This week on Siskel and Ebert, Laura Dern encourages her students to turn their dreams toward the October sky.
And working mom Rosie Perez has her hands full as the 24-hour woman.
And Jennifer Aniston finds romance with corporate slacker Ron Livingston in Office Space.
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
You're just not gonna go?
Yeah.
Won't you get fired?
Ron Livingston is in revolt against office routine, and Jennifer Aniston is the waitress he has a crush on in Office Space, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Gene Siskel is on leave again this week, and sitting in for him is a critic I've liked and admired for a long time. As they used to say on What's My Line, would you sign in, please?
Thanks, Roger. I'm Tom Shales of the Washington Post and NPR's Morning Edition. I don't think I can fill Gene's shoes, but I can definitely fill his chair, Roger.
It's nice to have you here, Tom. Welcome aboard. Our first movie is a smart and savage comedy named Office Space about people who are slowly being driven up the wall by the idiotic working conditions at a big corporation. The hero, named Peter and played by Ron Livingston, goes for help to an occupational hypnotherapist who frees him from all of his fears and obsessions. And as a result, when outside efficiency experts quiz him, Peter tells them the simple truth.
I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door. That way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Office Space is the first live-action movie by Mike Judge, who created the animated TV series Beavis and Butthead. This character, named Milton, starred in some funny cartoons Judge did for Saturday Night Live. Stephen Root plays the live-action version of Milton.
I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and move your desk again. So if you could go ahead and get it as far back against that wall as possible, that would be great.
No, because I was...
That way we'll have some room for some of these boxes and things we need to put in here.
Gary Cole plays the obnoxious supervisor who conceals his hostility behind a false front of friendliness.
So, Peter, what's happening? Now, are you going to go ahead and have those TPS reports for us this afternoon?
Jennifer Aniston is a waitress in a nearby restaurant. She's also going crazy because of company policy.
We need to talk about your flair.
Well, I have 15 pieces on.
15 is the minimum.
Office Space has basically the same point of view about office life as the Dilbert comic strip and last year's movie Clock Watchers, not to mention the works of Kafka and the Book of Job. It sees corporate workers as prisoners of their cubicles and victims of a management policy designed to break their spirits and make them interchangeable cogs in a machine. I really like this movie, not only for its comedy, but also for the anger simmering right below the surface. So, thumbs up from me.
Well, I liked it too, Roger, especially the scene where they went out into a field and smashed a copier to bits. Something I've always wanted to do, in fact, have done in my own quiet way with a different machine. But I did think it was kind of a small movie. I love Mike Judge, who, of course, created Beavis and Butthead. And I felt that for his first live-action movie, he should have done something a little more spectacular. This movie's pretty tiny.
Well, I think one thing what he's trying to do is he wants these characters to kind of be cartoon characters. They're not real dimensional. They're not real complex in their motivations or in their personalities. They kind of walk around almost like Dilbert characters and have their opinions and so forth. But, I like the fact that they're trapped in this office, so why shouldn't we be trapped in the office, too?
I suppose you're right. I mean, it's certainly going to, a lot of people are going to identify with these frustrations and this imbecile boss and all the things that he goes through at the office. And so the audience I saw it with, I guess, included some government workers, and they were applauding several times. You know, it was their chance to strike back.
You know, the scary thing is that a lot of the stuff they show in this office is right out of real life. I mean, it's not exaggerated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our next film is October Sky. The heartwarming story of a 17-year-old science buff living in a small West Virginia coal mining town in 1957. His father wants young Homer Hickam to work in the mines, but Homer has his eyes on the skies. The Russians have just launched the first Earth-orbiting satellite, Sputnik, and Homer wants to build rockets too. His first attempt is not what you'd call a soaring success.
Should we get behind something?
Homer keeps trying, though, and to help him along, makes friends with an outcast nerd named Quentin.
Better get started.
I quit.
Eventually, 2 other boys are enlisted in the project, and just as the U.S. space effort suffered many calamities during its first years, so do these amateur rocket scientists fizzle and fail in their efforts to get one up.
It's headed for the mine. I told you we didn't know what we were doing.
Homer is discouraged at every turn, but he keeps finding the will to continue. Finally, when he's given up all hope and gone to work in the mines himself, he gets words of encouragement from his devoted teacher, Miss Riley, played by Laura Dern.
You're not supposed to end up in those mines. You know why? Because I think you made other plans. I want you to know something. I'm proud of you.
Just as surely as Homer is aiming for the stars, director Joe Johnston and writer Louis Kolick are aiming for the heartstrings of the audience. With a vengeance, they pluck them like mad. Much about the movie is pat and predictable, and you know that when one crisis is surmounted, another one will loom, and then another, and then a really big one in the final third of the movie, when Homer's chances at success seem really crushed. But even if you see every turn of plot coming as if it were preceded by one of those curve-in-the-road signs, this movie can still get to you. It certainly got to me. I broke out in goosebumps. Not as many times as I was supposed to, I think, but enough to make the movie a satisfying, if way overlong, emotional experience, and to earn it a slightly reluctant thumbs up.
I felt a lot of fondness for this movie, too, and I'm an exact contemporary of Homer Hickam. So when Sputnik was up there, I was in my front yard with my binoculars, and I was reading Rockets, Missiles, and Space Travel, the book by Willie Lay. I read that about 4 times. I never built any rockets, though, because I was a complete washout when it came to science and math. But the story is interesting because these kids are really trying to send up this rocket in a town that says you should have no ambition except to go down in the mine. And even Homer's father is telling him the same thing. You're a miner, you're not a rocket scientist.
The symbolism is quite obvious, but it works. Go down or go up.
Yeah.
And there's a wonderful little scene, a shot of when he finally has to go work in the mines and the elevator's going down, and he looks up and sees Sputnik go over, and I thought that was just a lovely, lovely shot. In fact, I would have liked more lovely imagery and less talking. But I think we ought to give credit to this kid, Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Homer. He was so unactorly an actor. I don't mean he was a bad actor. I mean, he just seemed so real.
Natural. Yeah.
And it is apparently a true story. I mean, there really is a Homer Hickam, and he really works for NASA. We don't want to give away too much, but at the end of the film, you find out in American Graffiti style what happened to other people. The one thing I think that irritated me about the picture was all the rock oldies on the soundtrack. And I wondered if they almost hadn't been added later.
I mean, that's standard.
I know it's standard, and I know now that in movie ads they say, come and hear this music, as if you couldn't go out and buy a record if you wanted
well,
to
that's
hear
what
that
you're
music.
supposed to do, is go out and buy the album.
Why did we need all of those rock oldies? I guess, as you say, enough to make an album to plug the movie and vice versa.
Sell those records. Okay, later in the show, high school girls become unintentional killers in Jawbreaker.
She's so evil, and she's only in high school.
Coming up next, Rosie Perez is the 24-hour woman.
You are gonna love being pregnant. It makes you feel bloated.
You are the sexiest, the hottest, the most beautiful pregnant woman that I know.
Yeah? The only pregnant woman you know.
Rosie Perez plays a TV producer in that scene from the 24-hour woman, and Diego Serrano is her husband, who is the co-host of her show. By the time that scene occurs, she's getting to be just a little bit cynical about his commitment to parenthood. In the movie, Perez plays a high-energy powerhouse who wasn't planning to get pregnant, but is happy when it happens until her husband's co-host announces the secret live on the air.
Can you believe it? As you all know, Grace.
Where'd you find the time?
Patti LuPone plays her hard-boiled boss very effectively. She has no time for sentiment about babies or anything else except for ratings. She's not so sure about hiring a mother of 3 as a new assistant for Perez.
Grace, I don't know about this woman. I can hear the calls now. The sick kids, the parent-teacher conference, the no-show nanny.
The movie cuts back and forth between the story of Perez and her husband and the story of that new assistant played by Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
Terry, what did I tell you? Get your butt in here and get these socks off the table.
Oh, for God's sakes, Roy, calm down.
Baby, if I'm going to be home all day, I'm going to do it my way.
Rosie Perez brings a smile to my face in most of her movie roles because of her no-holds-barred acting style. She's out there and totally sincere at every moment. Here, for example, when she misses her daughter's first birthday party.
She took her first steps. I missed it.
The 24-Hour Woman was directed by Nancy Savoca, whose films all deal with women making space for themselves in a man's world. I like the way 24-Hour Woman refused to become just another politically correct fable about a superwoman. And even when the screenplay seems to drift, Perez keeps her character completely in focus, so thumbs up for me.
I'm afraid I have to give it a thumbs down, Roger. If the whole movie had been as good as Rosie Perez's performance, all my thumbs would be up, and I'd try to find a few more. But to me, there wasn't enough of her in this picture. I don't know why, when they have such a wonderful presence as Rosie Perez, that they need to add all that other stuff. I think the screenplay is more of an essay about these problems. A good essay, and a thought-provoking one, but not really a screenplay, not really a story.
Well, you know, the feeling that I had was that this other parallel story with Marianne Jean-Baptiste and her husband, who's played by Wendell Pierce, wasn't necessary. I know what they're trying to do. Here's, you know, what it's like for her, and here's what she can look forward to, and they're cutting back and forth.
I like the multiracial, the matter-of-fact multiracial
Well, that was
aspect.
okay, yeah, that was swell, but the fact is that the other story just seemed like it was moving off in a different direction. If they had concentrated on Rosie, her husband, her little daughter, Lily, and the people in the control booth, and Patti LuPone, and just focused it like that, I think it would have been tighter.
So you're agreeing with me that you're changing your...
No, I'm not changing my vote. I'm giving thumbs up to the movie, especially because of Rosie Perez, with the exceptions that I noted.
Oh, okay. Well, I tried. Coming up next, a violent death, a cover-up, and its consequences. The dark high school comedy Jawbreaker, when we come back.
We're all girlfriends here. It's just between us. What do you know?
3 high school vixens conspire in a cover-up when they accidentally kill a popular classmate in Jawbreaker, a very dark comedy about teenage chicanery and class consciousness. Courtney, played by Rose McGowan, is the idolized leader of the pack, a manipulative monster who isn't really all that troubled when Liz, the sweetest girl in school, dies during a lethal prank on her 17th birthday. She's only upset, really, that a shy girl named Fern has found out about it. To keep Fern quiet, Courtney bribes her with a new identity and a chance to join the in crowd at last.
All that you've ever dreamed of. If, and only if, you never, ever tell anyone what you heard.
Now transformed into an alter ego called Violet, Fern, played by Judy Evans Greer, gets instructions on the cool way to behave when she shows up for lunch in the school cafeteria. This scene contains probably the movie's sickest joke.
Don't think we're anorexic or something. We're not. That's reserved for the Karen Carpenter table. We're not stupid. We eat, and we eat well. We just don't eat in public. Well, at school at least. We don't want people judging us by what we eat. It gives them ammo, and the only ones with ammo are us.
That joke about Karen Carpenter is all too typical of the movie's sensibilities, which are, for the most part, shamelessly insensitive. Other than the dead girl, most of the characters tend to be either loathsome or despicable, with only a couple of kids worth rooting for. Even kooky Carol Kane, who plays one of the teachers at Reagan High, can't rise above the morass, and Dynamite Pam Grier is completely wasted as a detective. Just being irreverent, snide, and nasty isn't enough, not even these days. Jawbreaker should be called Jaw Dropper. It's that mean and vicious.
These people are loathsome, they are hateful. They are not nice. The movie isn't funny. It's very unpleasant. There's nobody to root for.
What picture do these producers see? I mean, besides Clueless, obviously, they must have seen There's Something About Mary and said, well, let's get really sick and twisted with our humor.
Or maybe they saw Heathers, but in Heathers you had these girls who were really smart and really wicked and were really doing things. Here you just have some inept, dumb beauty queens who are marching around worried about their hair and their clothes while somebody is dead. I found it really, really smarmy. I hated it.
Yes, and very pandering to its alleged teenage audience. I think they'll avoid it in droves. At least I hope so.
Well, they will if they listen to us. Okay, next movie. And our next movie is one of this year's Oscar nominees for Best Foreign Language Film. It's Tango, a passionate mix of music, dance, and politics by the gifted Spanish director Carlos Saura, who has dealt with music before in films like Carmen and Flamenco. A lot of his new movie is shot on a stage that makes great use of mirrors and reflecting surfaces so that we're never quite sure whether we're seeing reality or its reflection. The film stars Miguel Angel Sola as Mario, a former Tango star who's now a director. He's been asked by a local crime boss to use his girlfriend Elena in a production. She's played by Mia Maestro. Mario begins to fall in love with her, even though he realizes that's very dangerous since her lover is jealous and deadly.
¿Te parece?
Que le falta mucho todavía.
Es joven. Puede aprender.
In this scene, the new dancer is joined by the director's former wife, also a dancer, in a sequence that dramatizes their rivalry. Tango has a lot of music and a lot of dance, and you can relate to it just on that level. It's a musical, but it's also a complex and challenging film. This is the work of a director who's completely in control of his medium and filled with a great self-confidence. And by the surprising final scenes, it's a real pleasure to see all of the pieces finally falling into place.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Thumbs down?
Okay. It's certainly truth in labeling. I mean, there's lots of tangos. Yeah. There's an all-male tango. There's an all-woman tango. There's a sort of a Franco tango that reminded me of Evita, and God, do I not want to be reminded of Evita. I hated it, Roger. I thought it was artsy-smartsy from the word go. I'm tired of movies about filmmakers making movies. I mean, Fellini did it well. Truffaut did it well. This guy ain't no Fellini or Truffaut. Well, don't fall out of your chair. I'm sorry. This is just my honest reaction.
Well, but he is Carlos Saura, and he's a very good director. And what I liked was the way that occasionally he would get into things where you get the reflection and the reality, and then you find out that what seems to be happening isn't really happening, and then the people come in and change the reality of it, and at the same time, all the music and all the dancing.
Yeah,
I liked
deal.
it. I thought it challenged me. It made me think. It was fresh.
Bored beyond belief.
Bored.
I thought this movie was as cold and hard as those fantastic reflective surfaces you're so crazy about.
Do you like the tango?
Of course, I don't like mirrors, generally.
Okay.
No, I don't like the tango. I think it's a silly dance. And
you probably didn't like Tango Lesson either, the earlier film last year.
No, I just... If you want a tango, if you really want to see tangos, go see this movie, but that's all you're going to get out of it. It's a lot of hooey, as far as I'm concerned. Well, we'll settle this later. Coming up next, my video pick of the week, a showcase for the comedic talents of the great Chris Elliott. My video pick of the week is a TV show, not a movie, a fabulous Fox flop called Get a Life that debuted in 1990. Long before Dumb and Dumber and even before Beavis and Butthead, Chris Elliott co-created and starred in this inspired comedy about an obnoxious loser who still had a paper route and still lived with his parents, much to their embarrassment, even though he was 30 years old. Rhino Home Video is releasing the long unseen episodes of this cult classic, 2 to a tape, and the second volume in the series includes my favorite episode, a riotous spoof of E.T., the extraterrestrial, with Chris close encountering an alien he names Spewy for obvious reasons.
I'm keeping him.
Damn, I just mopped this floor last April.
No matter how rude, brutal, and cruel Spewy is, Chris blindly insists on trying to make friends and imagining this to be a wondrous, mystical, Steven Spielberg-y experience. Get a Life is an acquired taste, but once acquired, very hard to give up. Elliott's co-stars include Brian Doyle Murray, brother of Bill, and as Chris's father, his real dad, Bob Elliott, half of the immortal comedy team of Bob and Ray. Like his father, Chris Elliott carved out a comedy wavelength all his own. I am thrilled to pieces to have Get a Life available again. Get a copy.
Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this week's show. Thumbs up from both of us for the funny, smart, and savage comedy Office Space starring Ron Livingston and Jennifer Aniston. We also liked October Sky, a touching, nostalgic story about 4 high school kids who use science to escape the grim life of West Virginia coal miners. I gave thumbs up to Nancy Savoca's satire, The 24-Hour Woman, featuring a powerhouse performance by Rosie Perez. Tom liked Rosie, but not the movie. Neither Tom or I found anything much to like in Jawbreaker, a mean-spirited comedy that's so dark it's not funny. And finally, I admired Tango from Spain's masterful director Carlos Saura, but Tom tried to give it 2 thumbs down all by himself. He hated it so much. So I guess the movie we liked most this week together was October Sky.
Yeah, I think it warmed both our hearts, at least speaking for my heart. And I guess I can speak for yours, too.
You can speak for mine, too, in this case. Okay, thanks a lot for being here. Remember, you can hear our reviews on the web at Siskel-Ebert.com. And next week, Tom Shales will join me again for reviews of more new movies, including the thriller 8mm, starring Nicolas Cage as a private investigator whose case leads him to the seamy underworld of porn.
There's no one left to finish this but me.
That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.